Animal Farm is perhaps one of the few books which are always fitting of the times. That's something that I thought when choosing the book. So when I told a friend about it, he said the exact same thing, which I thought was funny. I remember reading George Orwell partially in high school, and I knew that his writing was interesting, based on lived experience and all. But in Animal Farm, George Orwell has all the groundwork which would make his 1984 novel just as famous, if not more. The book begins in a regular farm in the English countryside, dubbed the Manor Farm. It's under the ownership of one Mr. Jones, and Mr. Jones isn't a good farmer after becoming an alcoholic. All that the animals on the farm know is slave labor and rations. But one day, one of the older residents from the farm, a boy named Old Major, calls all the animals together and tells them a couple of things. In his speech, he tells them that he won't be around for much longer. His time is nearing, but last night he had a dream. A dream which revealed to him an old memory of his mother. This memory includes a song and a revelation. The revelation is one of a revolution, one that will make all animals in England free from the tyranny of humans. This revolution might not be in his or their lifetimes, but it will come. He teaches them that what goes on 2 legs is bad, and whatever walks on 4 legs is a friend. He forbids them in this revolution from a few things. He forbids them from clothes, from human beds, and no animal shall drink alcohol. He also adds 2 rules. No animal shall kill another animal, and all animals are equal. The song he now remembers, he teaches it to them. It is called Beasts of England. The song is very popular among the animals. They sing, moo, bleats, bark it out multiple times until Jones comes out and shoots a gun into the air, convinced that the animals are causing such a ruckus because a fox has snuck into the farm. The animals scatter, but the revolution and the song stays with them. A couple of days later, Old Major passes away. His memory is carried forth by the animals of the Manor Farm, who keep the song alive and remember the revolution. Surprisingly, this revolution does come in their lifetimes. One day, the old farmer, Mr. Jones, doesn't feed the farm in favor of drinking. This happens for such a time that in their hunger, the animals reach a desperate state and in a frenzy, drive out all the humans in Manor Farm. What follows is a roller coaster, a circus, and all that good jazz wrapped up in the skin of one animal, the pigs. After the revolution begins, a few pigs reveal that they taught themselves to read and write. 3 of these pigs are Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer. They've managed to turn Old Major's speech into an ideology that they've named animalism. They try to teach it to the other animals, but some aren't so quick on the uptake, so they boil down the philosophy into 7 commandments, which are as follows. 1. Whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. 2. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. 3. No animal shall wear clothes. 4. No animal shall sleep in a bed. 5. No animal shall drink alcohol. 6. No animal shall kill another animal. And 7. All animals are equal. These commandments are written on the side of the barn, and they're meant to ensure that all animals understand animalism, so that they don't have to suffer again like they used to under human hands. And for a while, things are all right on the farm. There are assemblies to decide how things should be done. They create a retirement age after which animals can go into a pasture and enjoy the rest of their days. Because the humans are gone, they now have enough food to feed themselves comfortably, and the work isn't forced with whips anymore. No animal steals and no animal hurts the other. But slowly things change, bit by bit. Napoleon takes in 9 pups from the dogs and takes to their education. Meanwhile, Snowball envisions a windmill which will give them electricity. He designs this fully and tells all the animals that with this contraption, they would only have to work 3 days a week after it's been finished. But Napoleon heavily opposes the plans. At some point, the humans come back to retake the farm, but the animals manage to defend themselves. One of the animals, a horse named Boxer, even kills a farmhand in this battle. One sheep perishes in this fight, and the battle is later named the Battle of the Cowshed. And for a while again, things are good, but they don't stay good. The debates between Napoleon and Snowball get fiercer and fiercer. The sheep start bleating an anthem of 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, which usually drowns out any voice against Napoleon that isn't Snowball. Work is hard, but animals such as Boxer become admired for the burden they carry. Boxer even going as far as to adopt the slogan, "I will simply work harder." And then something happens, suddenly. The 9 dogs that Napoleon raised grow up, and Snowball is driven out of the farm by 9 hounds. It happens in broad daylight during an assembly, and Squealer later explains that Snowball was an enemy, that he'd conspired with Mr. Jones. Through the seasons, his image is twisted further and further, despite never being seen again. On the farm, Snowball becomes this great boogeyman of Animal Farm. He would be to blame of any and all big and small things that go wrong around the farm, to the point that it's ridiculous. But he is still an easy scapegoat. Eventually, Snowball's contributions in the Battle of the Cowshed are whittled away until he's not a hero, but a villain. Eventually, Napoleon claims to be the one who thought up of the windmill and sets the farm to building it. Another important thing to realize is that one of the reasons why all the animals accept so easily that Snowball was a villain all along is kind of exemplified by Boxer, because aside from his slogan or anthem of "I will simply work harder," he adopts a second one that seemingly every animal has also adopted, despite not chanting it like he does so often. That is the anthem of "Napoleon is simply always right." So the animals labor and labor. The windmill gets built. The first one breaks down before completion, and Snowball gets blamed for sabotaging it. But a second one gets built, but Boxer falters due to the intense labor he's forcing himself into with the little rations that he gets. It's heartbreaking to see when the pigs eventually ship him off to a glue factory, and all the animals are led to believe that he was brought to a hospital and passed away despite the medical help. Conditions get harder. The pigs take more and more while producing no food of their own. The dogs become their scary guard dogs that all the animals in Animal Farm come to fear, and no one speaks up against the pigs, unless they want to die. Slowly, the commandments are both changed and broken. Dogs start killing animals who confess to conspiring with Snowball, despite there being no real reason or evidence of this. The pigs start sleeping in beds, trading with humans, drinking alcohol, wearing clothes, and even walking on 2 legs. When the animals witness this for the first time, they're horrified, but before anyone can protest, the sheep start blaring a new anthem for a whole 5 minutes. 4 legs good, 2 legs better. Without any time to say anything, the pigs go back inside the farmhouse where they've set themselves up, and no one has the chance to protest or even really question whether there was a commandment against being on 2 legs. What's maybe worse than pigs walking on 2 legs is that, to the confusion of many animals, the song Beasts of England gets banned. They don't really understand the reasoning they get from Squealer, but at this point, they've just come to accept the order of the pigs, so they don't sing the song anymore. The book ends with the horrifying revelation that the pigs really have made amends with the humans. The animals are animals again, while the pigs are indistinguishable from humans. There is no hopeful grand uprising in the end. All animals are still convinced that they're working for themselves instead of a greedy hand. But there is one who seems to realize what's going on, aside from Benjamin, that is. This is after years and seasons pass. Boxer has been long dead, and Old Major even longer. Few on the farm remember them, but one of the few that do is Clover, an old mare who should be long retired, but no animal on the farm retires. In her older age, her eyes don't work quite as good as they used to, so she asks Benjamin to read the commandments for her. For once, he indulges her. All the commandments that used to be there are gone, and only one remains. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The book ends with Napoleon, now indistinguishable from a human, declaring that the animal farm will become the manor farm again, that some silly tradition among the animals will need to be stopped, one that has become important during the revolution, but now the pigs are throwing away. The flag that had once held a horn and a hoof is now just a green flag. Nothing of the revolution remains, just pigs as humans, and animals who think they serve themselves. What's interesting to me is that the foundation for this totalitarian system actually starts with Old Major. While he does it with good intentions, when he gives his speech, he creates an us versus them mentality. His version is to take the animal freedom back from the humans, but what Napoleon and Squealer twist it into is that they can depict themselves as part of the animals while slowly turning into the humans. If they'd done this so soon after Old Major's death, then this wouldn't have worked. The speech would have been too fresh in the minds of everyone, but they managed to obscure facts and sow doubt amongst the animals in two ways: abusing their inability to read and using twisted logic to prime them to accept pig leadership. Most of the animals can't read well. There aren't really any schools until one is built later on for piglets, so most of the animals that can read do so poorly. One of the only animals that can read aside from the pigs and probably the dogs is a donkey named Benjamin. However, Benjamin is such a cynical figure that despite being the oldest on the farm and having the best memory, he doesn't do anything against the pigs or barely reads anything for the other animals. He is idle. Most of the animals can't read or read poorly, so the fact that the commandments are written means that for most of them, the commandments need to be read for them. This makes it easier for the pigs to change them too. The pigs also start twisting things. Squealer is great in giving speeches, in convincing others with Fox arguments. So, setting up a system in which he primes the animals to accept Napoleon as their leader isn't hard for him. It just takes time. Commandments are changed. Pigs get more and more rights, like having the right to be the ones to use the farmhouse instead of sleeping in the barn with the other animals. The assemblies and the votings are abolished. The animals don't notice that their rights are taken away until there comes a point where the pigs don't have anything left to take away. All the while, they've convinced every animal that they're still free from the slavery they faced under human hand. Eventually, pigs start wearing clothes, and to a lot of horror, they also start walking on two legs. But at that point, no one can object because the sheep, who were taught to chant this by Squealer, start bleeding 4 legs good, 2 legs better, which is a twist from their 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Things are changed. History is obscured, and all animals are kept fearful to keep them obedient. It really is just a mirror held up to reality in the time when this book was written. Just in this one, we have pigs becoming human, And in 1940s, it was humans becoming monsters.